Hey everyone, it's Matt,
And this is Lucas,
and this is Thanks for Playing.
the podcast where we break down the most iconic video games the world has to offer.
Wow.
Live in studio for the first time.
First time in studio, Lucas and I were finally able to cash in on Daddy's Trust Fund, able to set up this whole project. First time meeting in person, just found Lucas on 4chan actually. We haven't really discussed the true origins of our friendship. And he shows up flexing on me with his iPad while I'm just sitting here with my
With a ThinkPad.
ThinkPad
Yeah, actually.
from my work.
I think my high school chemistry teacher had the same one.
I'm sure she was beautiful. Yeah, I'm a little upset you're flexing on me a little bit, but there's a lot of firsts today. First, producer Sam, why don't you say hello to the fans?
Hello, fans. It's me, producer Sam. I don't have a camera, but I'm here. I'm here with the boys, adjusting levels, giving hot takes or cold takes, and here for the support live.
Yeah,
for the first time.
It's great. So we have a 3-camera setup here in studio for the first time, which is really cool. Producer Sam is moving things around. So those of you watching the live stream right now are probably seeing all sorts of cool camera angles. It's a good time in here. It's got the classic like blue purple like streamer look behind me here. And behind Matt, we got our logo going. It's pretty fun.
It honestly feels pretty unreal.
Yeah.
I don't know, we've been recording this remote for what, like, how long have we been a podcast?
We've been a podcast for almost 2 years now, I'd say.
Damn, I just realized
yeah,
that too.
because we started, it was
July.
2020. It was July of 2020.
Yeah, Oberdin dropped.
Yeah, so we're about a year and a half, but original inception of the podcast was around March of that year, like thinking about it and setting things up. Producer Sam creating the awesome theme song, us doing a test run. So it's been a while, and this has always been a dream, and we've finally gotten here, so it's pretty cool.
Wow. I'm excited. I mean, part of the reason I moved to LA too was like, dang, what if we actually did stuff in person now?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that'd be lit. And this is a live stream, everyone. We do have a live chat going on right now. Austin Swinehart remarks, fancy. And Austin, I agree. This is quite the fun setup we got here. We are very lucky to find a good space to be able to. All right, I'll admit it. We're not trust fund. We're not trust fund. We're very lucky to find a spot to rent out.
It's
on an hourly
$5
basis.
an hour.
Yeah. But it's cool. But enough about the space. If you're listening on Spotify, go check out our YouTube channel. Links on our link tree on TFP Podcast. You've heard me say it a million times. Shoot us an email, linkpod@gmail.com. You can find all of our info there. You can see what we got going on in studio. You can see everything. It's pretty nutty. And we're more active on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter and all that stuff these days. I'm really thinking of revamping the Twitter presence, actually. I think I'm going for, like, depressed Arby's. Either that or
Moon pie.
Either that or Wendy's.
Yeah.
But TBD. But before we get into more of the specifics of the game today, something kind of crazy that we haven't even talked about yet. Activision buying.
Oh yeah,
Microsoft buying
Activision Blizzard. Right. Yeah. We haven't formally talked about that. Pretty insane.
I'm still pretty blown away by it.
Yeah. Actually, Producer Sam, this might be breaking news for you because I know you're not really on the video game news cycle. But yeah, for those of you that don't know, Activision Blizzard got bought for about $70 billion by Microsoft. So, basically one of the biggest AAA video game studio developers, bought by one of the biggest companies on the planet. It's insane. Almost like monopoly territory for a lot of gamers. And it means that Microsoft has the right to put World of Warcraft exclusively on its own platform or its own digital platform like a Game Pass. It has the ability to put all the Call of Duties on every Xbox and not on any PlayStation. Pretty insane move there, kind of a power move. And we did make a TikTok about it. I know you had made one before, but what's your overall take on it, you say, for the podcast listeners?
I'm blown away it's like allowed to happen, honestly.
Right.
Just because, I mean, my first thing that comes to mind is, oh, this is like got to be like Monopoly level stuff, right? But when you think about, I mean, when you're looking at it from a wider lens, like, oh, there's no way it can be like Monopoly level. But when you look at it, actually, it's like so many of the games that people play is literally just World of Warcraft.
I know, yeah.
It's very common to be a gamer where you only play one or two games. Like, there's plenty of people that only play Hearthstone or only play
Only play COD.
Call of
I mean,
Duty or
only
whatever it may be.
exactly.
So just the like fan base they're strictly acquiring into that now is kind of insane.
Yeah.
We got a while before it closes. It's not like gonna officially close until 2023, but yeah, pretty nutty. More nutty, they bought it with straight cash, which, fun fact, it was around a $70 billion acquisition. And at least as of before, I don't know where it's at now, but around the time of the acquisition, PlayStation, Sony's market cap was around 140 billion. So feasibly, because that was about half of Microsoft's cash on hand, the 70 billion,
Wow.
feasibly, they could have bought PlayStation.
They could have bought PlayStation
Yeah.
2. That would have been.
They would have
probably
never let
blocked.
that happen.
Yeah, that would have been
Yeah.
blocked, I think. I
For
mean,
sure.
could this deal, does it have the ability to get vetoed by Congress at all? Do you know?
I think everything's like under scrutiny to like, the FTC or whatever. I don't really know how it all works, to be honest. But
yeah. I just know that big acquisitions do get blocked. Like I remember when Verizon and AT&T or something were going to merge.
yeah.
Like Congress is like, okay, come
I
on.
know.
You can't be doing
And then
that.
recently too, NVIDIA was trying to buy some like other chips processor like named Arma. I think I'm not really too familiar, but all I know is it didn't bode well for my stocks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's
Pretty
okay.
insane. I'm really curious to see where it really takes like the gaming community. I mean, you're right. Like there's people who they're casual gamers. They just jump on and play COD. They just buy the yearly edition of COD and play it and rank up casually 30 minutes a night or whatever. They're now the PlayStation owners are in danger
Yeah.
of not being able to do that anymore. Now, that being said, I don't think that Microsoft would make anything exclusively for Xbox. I think they would lose too much money on microtransactions.
Well, I don't know, because like the way they worded it too, it was we won't like force any existing communities to
yeah.
only be on Sony.
That was the
or
tweet.
only be on PlayStation. So I'm very curious if like when the next Call of Duty comes out, whenever that may be. And honestly, I've heard they may take a break between Vanguard, whatever the next iteration is. But I'm very curious.
That's interesting.
Whenever that does come out, if they'll just say, huh, see ya, nerds.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. Well,
yeah.
honestly, if you're trying to get people to buy Xboxes by saying, "Hey, you have to play Call of Duty on Xbox," I don't see that boding very well because it's hard to get a hold of these next gen consoles anyway. So it would just displace a lot of gamers and make them a little upset. Which
yeah, but
they
like,
don't really care.
You don't buy a $70 billion company and not get your money's worth.
They're gonna get their money though from the microtransactions. I mean, it's not like the money.
But who's
just
to say that
disappears.
half those PlayStation players won't fold, or excuse me, half those PlayStation players won't fold and just go to PC or their Xbox?
That's true.
If they do that and then they're strictly making up profits within their own ecosystem, like, I mean, I went to college, but I would be hard pressed for them to not be able to find like a more lucrative profit rather than selling whatever microtransactions they have with Sony.
Honestly, I could see them probably adding more to Game Pass with what they have here and saying like, if you have Game Pass,
That's where the big like draw of it all is. That was Game Pass in general, right?
Yeah.
It's just it was already like the strongest service by far for
Yeah.
game subscriptions, and now it's just like
there's probably going to be a Blizzard Activision like tier of Game Pass or like some sort of goodwill. Like, hey,
Yeah.
now for those of you that pay for Game Pass Gold or whatever it's called, you now have access to play World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, or
Yeah.
whatever. Or, like you now have a sub to World of Warcraft or Diablo or something like that. Just to create goodwill, that would be a really cool move that they would do,
or
rather than upsetting people.
they
by
go
saying-
the WinRAR route and give everyone a free trial, and then never actually
Yeah.
enforce it. But either way, super curious to see what they do. Crazy news in the gaming space. But
Yeah.
I love gaming. I know you do too. I know producer Sam does as well. But
Love
one of
games.
my past passions from high school and college that a lot of people don't know about is I love science.
Yeah,
I do.
Hence the ThinkPad.
Hence the ThinkPad, hence everything about me. That's why this jacket's green, it's sciencey, I don't know, but what I love about science, I just wanted to express that to you, right? And that's why today we are talking about the #1 laboratory testing simulator, Portal. Dun, dun, dun.
That is right. Portal, the 2007 puzzle platform first-person shooter game by Valve, released on the famous Orange Box, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, for the PC, 360, and PS3, which feels like so long ago. 8.2 on IGN, A on oneup.com, 9.0 from GameSpot.
Not used to hearing letter grades.
I know, it's weird having a letter grade there. And a 90 out of 100 on Metacritic. So
very well received.
Very well received.
Yeah.
It's a short game.
It's like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
tops.
it was, and half that is the boss. It's like the final act. Short game, fun game. I know we'll probably just end up diving into it, but I'm sure there's everybody out here listening has heard of Portal or played it just because it was an indie game at the time. It was short. It was easy to get a hold of. It was on the Xbox Live Arcade. That's where I first played it. And it was included for free in this orange box that Valve had created. And it took everybody by surprise pretty much when it came out.
You know what's really lame? The first time I played it, I downloaded it just like off of uTorrent or like a uTorrent website like Pirate Bay or something.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but
it was like $5. But I get it.
Yeah, man, you're in high school. You don't know what's going on.
That's true. Yeah.
But in case anyone isn't aware of Portal, we'll give a very, very brief synopsis of what's going on here in this game for all you wonderful listeners. So, Portal. A mysterious woman wakes up in a laboratory and is forced to engage in a series of puzzle tests by an AI named GLaDOS, armed only with a mysterious portal gun. That's it.
That's pretty Portal. Much it. Yeah.
Love the synopsis.
Yeah, it's solid. Producer Sam, have you played Portal?
I did play Portal. It was probably about 12 years ago. When did it come out exactly?
2007.
Yeah. It was a while back, but yeah, I remember it being pretty cool.
All right.
Pretty cool vibes.
Yeah, great. It is a great way to describe the game. Pretty cool. The basic mechanic of the game is you have a portal gun that you shoot at a wall. You can shoot an orange portal or a blue portal. 2 portals can only exist at the same time, one orange, one blue. You walk through the blue, you come out the orange, and vice versa. Same thing applies to all the objects. So you're forced to run through 19, is it 19 or 18 labs or test rooms?
I want to say there's 18 test chambers and like the final act, which
one giant test
one
chamber.
Giant like just, well, not even a test chamber, just like running through the corporate offices of Aperture Science.
Yeah. So you go through about 18 test chambers, 19 test chambers, and each one you're forced to solve all these puzzles using the portal gun, moving objects around space. And it's kind of a trip when you first play it. Like, first of all, there was no other type of game like it ever. There's one game like it now that's a multiplayer version of Portal. I'm not sure if you've heard of that one.
Portal 2.
No. There's Portal 2, but there's a first-person shooter like Halo meets Portal, where you can jump around a playing field.
I think I've saw Dr. Disrespect playing it.
Yeah, people have been playing it. The name is slipping my mind. I'll maybe producer Sam could look it up pretty soon here. But it's Halo meets Portal. So it's kind of a concept that's really come around now, about 15 years later. But Portal, first game to really do it. I am going to dive into some of the technicals of what they had to do to actually kind of to pull off this trick. I mean, if you think about it, there's like infinite loops in this game that are
split gate.
Yeah, it's called Split Gate. Yeah. I'm looking it up right now. It looks good vibes.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Real quick, just quick appreciation for producer Sam. Usually it's me like awkwardly typing away. Now we got just wow.
Yeah,
now you got
Jamie,
another pair of hands.
Yeah.
I'm here
but
for
we
you
got
guys.
Sam instead.
It's so cool. So it's funny how 15 years later the concepts that Portal had laid out are being used in like a pretty modern shooter that's getting pretty popular. Like you said, Disrespect's like been playing it and stuff. But I mean the crazy thing is mechanically you can create an infinite loop in this game like pretty much instantaneously. Like you just put a portal on the ceiling, portal on the floor, all of a sudden like there's an infinite loop. So there's a lot of technical things that are going on with this game that are pretty insane. Yeah. So there's I'm going to dive into a little bit later, but we can jump into initial thoughts.
Well, I kind of want to talk about the orange box a little bit. I mean, everything was developed by Valve, right? And what's so interesting about this, I mean, this was released with so many heavy hitters, right?
Right.
It was Half-Life 2, and then the expansion, Episode 1 and Episode 2 of Half-Life. I don't really know how the whole Half-Life thing works, to be honest. I know it's a very well-known game.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure how everything works chronologically there. And then it also came with Team Fortress 2.
Great game.
Incredible game, very well known. And originally, it was just like a little side project meant to be a fun add-on for the fans, but quickly became the highlight of the whole orange box, which I put in my notes the orangest.
I think the marketing was like the orange box, the best deal in gaming. It was like
Yeah.
60 or 70 bucks or something. It was a little bit more than a full price game, but it came with Team Fortress 2. It came with, it was Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2 and then like the 2
And
DLCs basically.
2, yeah, and then
Portal.
and then introducing Portal.
Yeah,
right.
so like
it
an
was
extra
like, oh,
thing.
here's like a little thing that we
Little
threw in here.
3-hour thing for you. Here you
Yeah,
go, yeah.
and then people were like, wait, this is pretty sick.
And it's just, yeah, I don't know. For one, like the orange box existing just as a thing. I mean, I don't know. It's very in character for Valve because you'll never see any other gaming companies, right, really release games like that where they just bundle like their best games together.
I know.
The only other place you'll really see that, even where other developers' games are bundled together for really cheap, is on Steam, of course.
Exactly.
Owned by Valve. So Valve has always been, I mean, I guess I can't comment too much on their overall practices, but seemingly has always very much been for the benefit of the consumer. So
Yeah.
shout outs to Valve for that and the Steam winter sale and
The Steam Summer Sale.
the hundreds upon thousands of unplayed games in people's libraries. Because, like, why would I not buy Assassin's Creed for $1? Like,
Civilization was like $10.
you haven't touched it.
Yeah, I haven't touched it yet. Yeah, but I got it. I got it.
But you got it.
Yeah, pretty insane. I mean, 2007 was a pretty different era for video games than we're in now too. Like 2007, I mean, think about this. This is like the PlayStation 3, 360 era. The Wii had just come out like the year before. Like there wasn't as thriving of an ecosystem on Steam in the PC realm as much. There wasn't like ubiquity. There wasn't cross-platform play. There wasn't like online wasn't as strong as it is now, you know?
Yeah.
And Portal, you know, comes out in this whole entire, like, basically at the moment where everything was about to really ascend to like what we view gaming as today, which is like downloading most things, a lot of indie titles, you know, obviously there's tons of AAAs now, but I don't know, coming out in an era where things were a little like all over the place and like we were just starting to ascend to like a AAA online holistic ecosystem. And here's Portal, you know, and it's just
This was like pre-high concept video games.
You want to elaborate?
Yeah. I just want to say, you know, I feel like this was in a more simple era, like we were talking about earlier, Lucas, where it's like, yeah, you're just a guy going through portals, you know, and nowadays it's like there's cyberpunk, you know, and it's
yeah, you're like a guy going through a car in a city.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's too much.
Too much.
It's too
Too
much.
much. Yeah.
Way too much. Like, keep it simple. Let's portals and that's it.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's a good take. That's a solid take.
Dang. Producer Sam coming in with the hot drops.
So initial thoughts, Matthew.
So everything about Portal, like it just works. There's no other way to say it. I mean, you could make this exact same game today, obviously with updated graphics and just like somewhat elaborate on whatever Portal's 2 story was. And I guarantee you, like, as long as the puzzles are still fun and like good enough, not even good enough,
Right.
it's gonna like sell AAA. For one, it has built up so much like just faith in the game, and it's just such a simple concept, right? And what I think is so special about Portal, is that for one, there's the whole puzzle aspect, right? And then on the other hand of it, and I almost call it like its own game design element because I think it's such like, it's not game design technically, but it's such an integral part of the experience. Is you have this incredible, like, quirky, dry humor from GLaDOS. Just like
so good.
overarching you and everything. And I don't know, just, it's such a, like a perfect mix of everything where, like, nothing overshadows anything else within the game. Like, the gameplay is not going to overshadow the fun, like, dialogue you're getting, and then the fun dialogue isn't going to overshadow the puzzles because it all just comes together
Perfectly
so well.
complements it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, same thing. I love the game. You know, this is my second playthrough ever. I played the game when it first came out. Like I said, I played on Xbox Live Arcade. There was, so there's Portal, and then there's a version of Portal called Portal Still Alive. And that was the version I actually played now. I think it's the only version you can really play. It's the standalone version of Portal it's the game with added extra test chambers with more difficulty and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you played that version, but that's the one I played, and that was the one I played back in the day. I think the puzzles are totally fun. It's like the use of the mechanic like just gets taken to the next level and the next level and the next level. It's like you'll learn one concept about how portals work in one level, and then you'll learn something that adds on to that and then adds on to that, and like something that's brand new, like quite literally the idea of like it's kind of rooted in reality, right? It's like, oh yeah, like you shoot a portal here, you shoot a portal there, you walk through the portal. Like this is in every sci-fi movie. Like this is a thing that we know like could maybe happen, or like logically your brain thinks it could happen. And it's like, well, hang on, let's take it a step further. What would happen if you were running through that portal and then that portal was actually on the ground? Would you like continue your momentum? Or like, what if you fell and then went through a portal while going like 15 miles an hour downward? Would you shoot out from a wall? So it's like answers, it asks all these questions and then answers all of these questions.
And it doesn't like play with it, get like cute with, like it's just intuitively, oh yeah, like momentum's gonna carry me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so cool. And like I love the, like you said, GLaDOS, like it's perfect because, well, one, she's like making fun of like a very too objective scientific observation and like scientific language.
Yeah.
Like everything has a name. I love that. Like, oh, this is your aperture science intelligence incinerator. It's like just an incinerator. It's like, it's just it doesn't need to be named that, but like, because she's like a scientist or like they're in this scientific experiment, like everything needs this very proper, dry, like objective name. It's pretty great.
Totally. Yeah. And something else I think is worth mentioning too is like what it does so well is that it keeps things like in the very beginning of the game and just throughout the puzzles as well, you know, it explains things so well for you, but it does such a good job of not telling you like how to do it, right? Like, oh, of course, you know, you have to like, here's the red button, you know, intuitively you're going to figure out, I need to go step on the red button or I need to go throw something over there, right? It's not, you know, a game like today that say doesn't respect a player will be like in the tutorial, oh, grab your cube, you know, and put it on the red button.
It's like a tooltip.
Prepare for this in the future. Like, you'll see this again. Like, that's an example of a game not respecting a player and not respecting just, like, them being able to simple out a figure task, whereas Portal's like, yeah, we'll tell you need to get through the test chamber, but, I mean, like, good luck.
Yeah, yeah. I love, too, like, GLaDOS, like, this next test is impossible. And we're sorry it's impossible. And then you're like, what? And then you beat it, and she's like, we were lying. It's like, okay.
Got him.
Yeah, it's like, it's so dry, it's so funny, and like it's kind of poking fun at that like respecting the player thing, because it's like obviously the player is going to assume that it's not impossible. But like her saying that is like toying, it's kind of poking, like it's poking fun at itself in a self-aware way, which really I think is great. So when did it click? Oh, when did it click? was what I was going to ask you.
Kind of going to what I was saying earlier. I mean, the thing about Portal is that it just clicks instantly, right? Because it throws you in this world. It says, here's your basic tools. You need to figure out how to get out of each test chamber, right? And then once you get into that test chamber, it's like, okay, now I need to do this and that. But every chamber slowly adds on to each thing you're going through, right? It's, oh, now you have turrets. Now you have bouncing things back and forth, whatever, like the
electrical balls of energy,
whatever the hell those were, just like zapping you constantly. And it builds on itself very well, and it's all like paced very well to where it just clicks immediately, if that makes sense.
Totally.
There's no like,
it doesn't add too much on too quick.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. It has this. I mean, you and I both played this before too, so we knew what to expect. I mean, it just has like this incredibly quirky and just an incredible timelessness to it. Especially it just comes out with GLaDOS's one-liners. Because to be clear for everyone, if you haven't played this game, like you're playing, you know, a silent protagonist. You're not saying anything throughout the game, but GLaDOS like just totally carries the game with her one-liners. Like, I don't know. There's just so many random ones that come out of nowhere. Like a few would be like, "Did you know you can dedicate your organs to the self-esteem fund for girls?" Like what? And then, like after you do something well, you finish a test, she'll be like, "Unbelievable. You must be the subject name here. Pride of Subject Town."
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah. I love that one. Yeah. No, yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of funny in this really weird way, and it's because it's the same engine and kind of has the same vibe. It's like Stanley Parable, right? You're just walking around corridors, that are
I
all
mean, it's
at,
all
like,
source, right? Yeah, it
yeah,
just
it's-
feels very similar.
yeah, it's like you're walking around corridors at like sharp angles, and they obviously the graphics look the same, and then a omnipresent narrator is like talking to you the whole time, right?
If you told
So-
me Davey Reedon made Portal, I'd be like, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, check
Because
that.
it's so, I mean, obviously Portal's not breaking any fourth walls or anything, kind of like how Stanley Parable does, or getting super heady how
Beginner's Guide.
Beginner's Guide gets, but it's just it has like that unique quirkiness that clearly Davey Reedon loves putting into his games.
Yeah.
And I mean, Portal just like nails it on every head. And I don't know, I'm sure Davey Reedon loved Portal. If not, Davey, talk to us, let us know. Yeah, no, it's so good, and the one-liners from the turrets are so good and so sad.
I know they really are.
Yeah.
Those were funny.
They'll be like, "Oh, where'd you go?" And then if you knock it down, I don't blame you.
yeah, yeah. Basically, yeah. You for those of you that haven't played, you kill a turret, and the turrets like talk, and they just like they say stuff like I don't blame you, and then they shut off, or
Yeah.
like they'll be like it's okay,
Yeah,
they'll
like,
die.
yeah.
It's like oh
Okay,
geez, I almost feel
I get it.
yeah.
Like-
It's pretty funny. All right, moving on to game design. I know we're kind of touching on it a lot, but I can start here. I have a few things. I just really love how it does like not explain too much to the player. It leaves a lot for you to figure it out. It is a puzzle game,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So you're constantly figuring things out on your own and kind of learning that certain things can apply to this rule or to the rules of this world. But I think what's interesting about the game design is that it pretty much mimics exactly how real world physics works. It's just gravity,
Yeah.
bouncy balls off walls, like tracks, moving parts, conveyor belts, turrets, bullets, cubes that you can grab and pick up and place. It's like there's not really any special rules outside of the portal gun itself, which is very simple. Just shoot target A, shoot target B. You can walk through A and B now,
Yeah.
and like the level that they take like the simplicity of real world physics, real world gravity and rules, and they just add the portal gun, and like it's genius design really, because it's like you're really not there's probably a certain point where like some of the puzzles probably designed themselves, where they're like, oh, of course you'd be able to throw a cube here and the cube should end up there.
Right.
And like when you figure out the puzzles, it's like, oh, you never feel like cheated in a way. You're always like, oh, of course that's
Yeah.
how that would work, right? So that's what I really like about the game design is like the puzzles are not, I guess the word is contrived. They're not like they're playing by the most fair rules ever, which is just like,
well,
yeah, there.
exactly what you're saying. Like, it doesn't. At no point in the game does it introduce an element that, when it makes sense within the world, it establishes immediately,
Yeah.
right? Because immediately from like your very first time where you get the portal gun to where you realize, okay, I don't have to worry about fall damage and momentum carries. Like those are the main
That's the
two
only way.
things.
That's the only non-realistic.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Like within the rules it establishes
Right.
for the character in the world, it takes those two things and it doesn't like run away from them, you know. And it doesn't do some like bullshit thing where like, oh, now you're bouncy, you know, or
Yeah.
something like that. Like now you can bounce up on the walls.
Now
and
you
have
can
to-
freeze time,
Yeah,
but that's not frozen, so that moves. It's like
Yeah,
a like braid or something. Like
no, it's so well done, and
yeah,
I don't know, like the thing about the puzzles too, like none of them are, like you mentioned, none of them are particularly like hard or anything. It's just like stare at them long enough and you'll figure them out. And for me at least too, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I think if you were just playing, you know, we'll call it Portal Vanilla, whatever, like a hypothetical where there is no GLaDOS, you're just given like a brief explanation by like, you know, a very whatever random AI word generator and just
Mhm.
like told, okay, now go through these things. This game wouldn't be nearly as successful as it is.
Totally,
I think that, for one, having GLaDOS is just so important to, you know, building this sense of uneasiness as you're playing, right? Because on one hand, you know, you're playing through the game and you're having fun doing all these weird puzzles, and you and GLaDOS are palling around, having a
Yeah.
good time doing whatever. And then all of a sudden you get to one room and there's just like a little, you know, little little break in the panels, and you go into a little hidden alcove in one of the test lab rooms, and you just see, you know, help,
yeah.
the
People
cake is
stranded.
alive.
Yeah, people
And-
stranded.
And everyone, for context, the whole time throughout the game, GLaDOS is like, hey, if you do this test, got some cake.
Yeah,
Like,
there's gonna be cake.
there's gonna be
once you
cake,
finish all your
yeah.
tests. Yeah.
And then you go into this room, and there's just these very scary scribbles, and it's just like the cake is a lie, the cake is a lie, the cake is a lie.
Which is a meme.
Yeah.
That's like a full-on thing, like that people will say, the cake being a lie. Yeah, it's cool. You know, that GLaDOS thing. I definitely want to touch a lot on that on the sound design section. It's like, well, I'll talk about it more there. But art style. Do you want to move on to art style?
Yes, but just a little bit too to kind of elaborate on the like. What I think Portal does so well too is, I mean, like I mentioned originally, it wasn't even going to be like have the whole aperture science stuff. It wasn't even going to be really set within the Half-Life universe at large. But what it does do is, like, you know, by introducing that stuff, introducing the elements of like these little, I don't know, like the alcoves I talked about, and like it opens up all this lore that makes the player so much more interested in it, right? Because if you're just going through these puzzles one by one, you're going to get bored after a while and not really want to continue, probably.
Right.
By introducing that little, like, oh, what the fuck is GLaDOS up to, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it. And for me, like, I was thinking about it too. Like, when I view it through that lens, Portal is almost like a walking simulator disguised as a puzzle platformer.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the puzzles again are not too
Yeah.
crazy. So
They're super, super simple. Like, there's nothing crazy about them. And yeah, but I don't know. I think the overall little like narrative they do is great. And did you know they actually changed the ending of this game after post-release?
it was supposed to be real dark, right? It was supposed to be a lot darker than it is now.
So the original ending just has you, like, you know, blowing up the lab or whatever with GLaDOS, and then you're on the surface and the game just ends.
Oh,
But instead it drags you back in
yeah.
because they're like, oh shit, we're making Portal 2.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
good. And yeah, I don't know. I love it. And then just like some of what the speedrunners have done with this game too is insane. And I mean, there's like a whole nother genre of speedrunning within this. I think I sent you a video earlier
Yeah.
today. So I was watching just Portal videos just to get ready for the podcast, and I see, oh, Portal speedrun, doing it in this amount of time. Oh, and I only used 15 portals throughout
I
the
know
game.
they only use 15.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And this guy did like this crazy pro gamer move where to like use less portals. You know, he stepped on like a red button, and then he had a radio with him. You can like grab radios or little
It's only one radio, I think.
one radio he just grabs at some point in the game, and you know, typically a red button opens the door, so he steps on the red button. As he's stepping off, he eats the radio perfectly in between this
dude.
door, and then steps off at the red button just in time so that the door gets wedged by the
He
radio.
jams a door.
He literally jams a door, and I'm watching this. I'm like, this is the most pro gamer move
That
I
was
have ever seen in
crazy.
my life. And credit to Finzi Goes Fast on YouTube for that one. That's a YouTube user's video I watched. So
Yeah, I watched
definitely check that out.
on Speedruns, the actual website. If you want to know more about speedruns, you can check out our video on speedrunning. I think it was our most recent podcast.
We're a video
episode.
podcast now, baby.
We did. I think we might have a video of it, but
We probably did.
Yeah, a speed run episode that we did, and I did look up some Portal speed runs that were like, basically there's different rules. There's an inbound speed run and an out of bounds speed run. The out of bounds speed run is
This is
just
nuts.
insane. Yeah, you just don't even know what
This
the hell's
guy was
happening
using
at
it
all.
one, and like it was so weird. He like ripped a camera off a wall and just like stood at a corner, and then all of a sudden he's just like flowing like through walls.
Yeah,
in this
just-
whole different room. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, just
But,
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff people were doing with the engine for sure. All right, art style. Now, this is kind of a tough one because I feel like art style, when we talk about Source games, is like hard to zero in on. They all
They all look the same.
For-
This game
yeah.
looks like Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable
looks like Beginner's Guide
yeah.
and everything. It's just like it's a very unfortunate side effect of having such a solid like engine that people can tap into and
Yeah.
build all these great games. Is
Yeah.
like a lot of these assets end up looking the same. A lot of these colors look the same. It's like very dry and everything, and part of the game design and everything. I think it makes sense, all that being said, for Portal, because you are in a scientific lab where it makes sense that it's in these sharp angles. The walls are very plain.
Yeah.
It's glass and cement, and like, it's boring. It's kind of stripped
Because you're in a
down.
lab, it should be.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense there. I think it'd be very hard to make a game like look very pretty or environmental, like a Breath of the Wild type thing with an engine like Source, obviously. But Source is not good at that kind of stuff. I think even the beginner's guide, Davey Reedon, is very like clear about it in a piece of narration. He says This game is built on the Source engine, which is very good at corridors.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like very good at shooting, very good at corridors, and that's like what Portal is, you know. So as far as the art style, I think it's kind of one of those things where it's very cookie cutter and very minimal, not very exciting. It's not very much meant to be. It actually is clever in that it places itself in a setting where it's not supposed to be very pretty.
Yeah.
Because it knows it can't be as an engine. So I think as far as the graphics and art, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna fight back a little bit.
All right, let's hear it.
Fight back. I acknowledge it's built in Source. I have it written here in my notes, so I know it's true. It is definitely built in Source. But for some reason, I don't know why, Portal still looks so fucking good.
You think so?
I don't know why.
I don't think it looks
Source.
bad.
It's not built with anything differently than the beginner's guide or Stanley Parable was, but something, maybe it's just Source as an engine and I haven't been giving it enough credit up to this point, but something about it is just so fucking timeless. And maybe I'm just being fueled by nostalgia right now, but every time in that game when I shoot a portal on a wall and then you see it slowly expand and then you see the, you know, the boundaries of the portal kind of like pushing, and I don't know, every time I shoot a portal, I'm like, this still looks so fucking good. How does it look so good? This game was made in 2007. If you like, I don't know, if you like release this game today with just slight retexturization or like a remaster, like I could believe you that it came out today.
I'm sure people have.
Yeah. It's just so good.
To be clear, I don't think the game looks bad. I think it has a very cookie cutter looking engine, which it does. I mean, stuff on Source just looks like stuff on Source. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. It is what it is, right? It's a easy engine to work with.
I mean, that's the appeal of it, right? But something that's really cool too is, I mean, they had so little time to put this game out, is that they ended up reusing a bunch of just assets from Half-Life.
Oh yeah, see, there's my point.
Yeah, so like that red orangish ball that like will bounce back and forth and kill you instantly. That is literally
in Half-Life.
That's just a gun from Half-Life, just literally a completely reused asset, reprogrammed or whatever.
One thing I do want to touch on, since we're here on since we're on the subject of graphics, is there's actually a really interesting seminar. People, you know, the viewers can go check out. It's on YouTube. You can type in Portal making of. So Portal was originally a concept by two people that got brought into Valve to then finalize that concept with Valve. The names of the people are slipping my mind. Maybe you can pull it up. But these two guys do an awesome game developer talk on the making of Portal, and you know how they actually did this trick. Now, I mentioned
the game
earlier,
was Narbacular Drop, right? Is that what you're talking about, or
what's up?
Were you talking about the game Portal? Like,
oh no, the two guys that did that one though.
Oh, let me look it up. Yeah.
So they do this really interesting talk where the information went over my head. I really couldn't wrap my brain around what was actually happening. But the basic tenet of the talk was, I'm here to talk about Portal. Let's talk about what a portal is. And the guy didn't talk about what a portal is by the way our brains really thought about what a portal is. The creator said, here's what a portal is. And he showed a graphic. He said a portal is actually a window that is displaying and rendering the room again inverse on the opposite end. He was like describing what a portal actually is doing from a technical standpoint within the engine. And it was mind blowing. He's like, yeah. And then when you add two portals, when you go this way, the room is actually rendering at this angle. So we have to measure the angle at which you shot the portal, invert that angle to the other portal, and that is what you're actually viewing. And he says all this whole trick is happening all in real time. And he brings up like, this doorway is not actually a doorway. This is actually teleporting you half a mile away over here because we have to save the like rendering time for this and that. It's really, really, really tricky. And that's what I'm saying is like, I think like, I mean, it's snappy. Like you just shoot a portal, bam, you just go through it. Like there's no loading, there's nothing like that. You can't even really break the game. Like, I mean, you can't really like overload the system to render too much and then break the game. It's all perfectly working very, very in a snappy way. And obviously the Source engine is what's accounting for it being able to be that snappy. But I just think it's so interesting that, I mean, no matter what engine you're running, no matter what you're doing, you have to keep in mind, you're going to be rendering 3D twice. You're not viewing that room, you're rendering the room again.
I mean, the fact that it can run that so smoothly is kind of incredible when you think about it.
Yeah.
Now that we play so many games and have such a better idea of like what's out there, what blows me away the most usually is just how these things are, especially older games that we play. Like we're playing Ocarina of Time right now, and I'm gonna have some things to say about the game. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But one thing I am very impressed by is just again how much is rendered out at once on a fucking N64.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That blows me away. And I think the name of the people you were thinking of were
One of the names is
Garrett
hard.
Ricky.
Yeah.
There's Dave Kircher, Kim Swift, Jeep Barnett. Anyways, From Narbacular
I'll
Drop was a
post-
game that the made, and then it was like a kind of a game demo, and then Valve liked what they did and brought him on board to make Portal. So
Right. I
kind
think
of
they-
interesting. It had like static portals in their game originally. I think it was
Oh,
way
really?
different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you weren't shooting them; they were just portals that you had to like work with.
Oh, okay. So, but the idea, what they had figured out on how to render 3D space
Yeah.
through a portal, like
Came
a
into
window,
Portal.
came into Portal in that
Yeah.
sort of way. Yeah. To be clear, it's not necessarily just pure technical power. It's literally a trick that they're pulling off
Yeah.
by like measuring angles and windows and rendering it in a specific kind of way. So
Yeah.
it's cool. It's really cool. It's kind of like I remember Katamari Damacy. They have an actual patent on the way you absorb objects. I don't know if we
Really?
talked about that. Yeah.
Interesting.
So the creator of Katamari Damacy actually like patented the method that you absorb objects in. Not the actual technical, it's more the method. It's not like the actual code that he patented, but there's actually a patent for it where it's like, hey, when you absorb an object, here's what's actually happening. The object below it is moving inward and it's like disappearing after a certain like condition is met. So it doesn't keep rendering that object. Otherwise there'd be an infinite amount of objects that you'd have to render in Katamari basically. So it's just like you can patent or think about video game development by like, here's a trick that we're pulling off. It's more of a technique than it
Yeah.
is like a piece of code, which is pretty cool.
Dang. Shout out to all like the tech guys and gals out there that
Yeah.
do these incredible games and do these incredible things. Because I don't know, I went to school for business marketing. I didn't learn shit, so I
Yeah.
can comfortably admit that. 5
Yeah.
years? 5 years? No, 4 years out of college. So
I went to
that's
film
fine.
school, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Well done.
thank you.
You made it.
Yeah.
You have a podcast.
Yeah, hey man, I mean I use it every day.
Yeah, it works, man. It
Eh,
works.
The birthday invite? That was a video.
Oh, we'll have
Hey,
to.
that was worth going to film school just,
We'll have to
just
show
for
that. We'll have to maybe show that in the Discord, which, by the way, we have a Discord in our link tree, TFP Podcasts, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Come hang out. Yeah, and there's a couple more notes on art style. Something I was reading that was kind of funny was originally even the test rooms were a little bit more detailed even.
Oh wow.
But what they were finding was so many of the playtesters were getting so distracted by trying to shoot portals onto these objects that really had no bearing on the game and wouldn't help them in any manner.
Oh.
So that's one of the reasons everything is so
stripped down.
Stripped down. And then I don't know. I'm so glad they did choose that because I've already talked about it, but I love like the transition of you're in these clean, spotless testing chambers, and then you end up going into these like very terrifying,
The
you know,
the
little-
bowels of the facility.
the bowels of the facility, and you see all these crazy writings on it by like the Rat Man, which is like a whole. Actually, the Rat Man was supposed to be a character included in Portal.
Oh really?
It's like I think he's schizophrenic. It's like a schizophrenic
guy.
employee that survived GLaDOS's genocide.
Oh.
And he's just like trying to survive in the facility. And he was originally supposed to make an appearance, I think, in this Portal, but they just got like little ran out of time. They didn't have a lot of time to make this video.
yeah.
And he wasn't in Portal 2. Maybe he was mentioned, but I think like his alcoves are more present in Portal 2. But he did get like his own little comic, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
That
Oh.
Valve expanded on the lore a little
Good
bit.
for him.
So
Good for him.
moving on to sound design. Break it down for me, big dog.
Yeah. So GLaDOS, right, is what I was mainly going to talk about here.
Yeah.
I'll say it this way. I feel like I mostly played the game to keep hearing GLaDOS talk. The puzzles were like a fun
Well, that's what I'm
aside,
saying, right? Like the puzzles like draw you in, then you realize, oh, I want to see what GLaDOS is about.
yeah, exactly. And like she's so like
Voiced by the incredible Ellen McLean.
yeah. I think like the credits have her like it's a very honorific credit too. Like kind of like in Stanley Parable, the narrator it says like the impeccable whatever, narrated by like the outstanding whatever. I'd
Yeah.
really like put GLaDOS, like the voice actress for GLaDOS.
One of
in
the
that.
most iconic video game performances ever. by
Yeah,
far.
seriously. And I know we talk about like voice actors a lot because like there's for some reason a stigma about voice actors versus actors and like you know, we all know damn well that voice actors are like real actors that are like putting in such great
it's
work.
its own
and
unique craft.
it is, and it's great.
Which is why you don't have Keanu Reeves in your video
Yeah,
games.
yes,
I will die on that hill. Keanu Reeves did not have a good performance in Cyberpunk. Go listen to our Cyberpunk episode. Please continue.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And it's like, I mean, everybody always wants to throw like, you know, Willem Dafoe in your video game as your voice actor. They want to throw in like James McAvoy.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating here. We did a podcast on a game called 12 Minutes where Daisy Ridley, Willem Dafoe, and James McAvoy were the voice actors in a game, and that game sucked. And the voice
Dafoe
acting
was all right.
Yeah.
Ridley and McAvoy did terrible.
Yeah.
But that game had a myriad.
That game was
of
had
other
a lot of
problems
problems.
to
Yeah.
go through.
I mean, the voice acting was part. We talk about how the voice acting the fact that you got those like highly paid Hollywood mainstream actors to be in your game may have impacted development for that game.
Yeah.
It probably did. And like, I mean, shooting schedules. You know, it's Daisy Ridley. You know, she's making Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
busy. I mean, they're all hella busy.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
are all A-list actors.
and like when you actually have like dedicated voice actors, when you're actually seeking talent that'll like stay on for your game, dedicate themselves to your game, and like really put it all out there, and like, you know, actually be a part of the development process in less of like a celebritized sort of way, and just like simply be a good voice actor.
Yeah.
Not for star power, just to do the great job and stay on. GLaDOS is sorry, the actress's name, the voice actor. Ellen McLean doing what she did with this GLaDOS. It's like iconic. You're right.
Yeah.
It's like more iconic than it probably cost the developer less than Willem Dafoe.
100%.
Probably.
Yeah.
And it was way better. I'm just standing on the soapbox again to use actual voice actors and non-celebrities in your games because it doesn't get you anywhere.
And animated movies, to be honest. I know that's a whole like larger conversation. Maybe anything is possible, but
Yeah.
Donkey did a great video on it as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, he did. That was
Video
a good-
acting and
yeah.
gaming in general, not celebrity specific.
Yeah,
but,
I remember his thesis was, I either want the worst acting ever or the best acting ever.
Yeah.
Everything else in between is complete garbage. It's like, I kind of agree with that.
That's
all the clips that he had from like Shenmue and stuff.
Oh yeah, dude,
that was so funny.
that was great. Shenmue's some horrifically awesome,
Yeah.
bad voice acting.
Shouts to Donkey, man.
Yeah, what a guy.
what a guy, what a
What a-
king.
What a king.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I think main takeaway with sound design is Ellen McLean, god tier voice actor, absolutely incredible. The music itself is like really good too. Honestly, Still Alive is a fucking banger,
Yeah,
which is incredible because it has like been done in a fucking orchestra. Like it has
Yeah.
been so many covers of it, so many.
It's such an iconic song.
Yeah.
It's like really like it's crazy how Portal has had this lasting impression with Still Alive, and even The Cake Is a Lie like line.
Dude, when all that Twitter shit was going on with like, you're not on Twitter much actually, so
I'm
you may
not.
know this, but I don't know, like maybe like 6 months ago or a year ago, I don't know how long. There's a big thing on Twitter where everyone was just cutting into like, I don't know,
Oh,
like,
the
it would
cake.
look like a
Everything was cake.
hamburger,
Yeah.
everything is cake,
Yeah.
or it would look like a book or a laptop, and then you cut into it and it's just a fucking cake. And I'm like, was this like a play on The Cake Is Alive from Portal or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
But, yeah.
I remember that.
But I mean, yeah, the music is good. Still Alive is a banger. Has been done so many times, and even just like the little music that's added into the game. Like for example, what was it called? I don't know the name of the song or like the track, but just like the little elevator music that's playing when you first just wake up in your like little sleeping pod or whatever it is. It's just so,
Yeah.
chef's kiss. So well done. Yeah.
It's so good.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it for sound design. Moving on to the NPC award. All right. I mean,
There's like 3 you can pick
there's 3 you can pick?
in my eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
Who are
I mean,
the
are you giving?
It's GLaDOS.
Okay, that's
me.
fine.
Who,
Um,
oh, you got a hipster pick over there?
Well, normal men would choose GLaDOS,
Okay.
but I am above that,
Okay.
and I'm choosing the turrets.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess.
I don't know. So much can be pulled from their dialogue.
Just like so much hidden sadness. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because this turret's like, where'd they go? If they shoot him, maybe GLaDOS will like I don't know, give me cake. And then they know they're being dicks. They know they're the worst. They know they're assholes. And that's why when you all knock them down, they're like, yeah, I get it. Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just got such a kick out of the turrets. Obviously, Gladys is in her own tier, but that was just like, I knew one of us was going to say it. So
Yeah.
I
And it was
wanted to
going to be me.
provide a little variety there. Honorable mention to Companion Cube, too. I wasn't that attached this time around playing, but I remember the first time I was like, this bitch really gonna make me burn my companion cube.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. It's not a character though, technically. It's an object.
Whatever. I became attached to my companion cube.
Yeah,
is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
We all did.
NPO.
NPO.
Non-player
Unplayable.
object.
Maybe we got to
That's
make a new category here.
Yeah.
on,
Category, yep.
Thanks for playing.
Nice.
Yeah, GLaDOS killed it though. Like we already mentioned, so many good one-liners. Some everything about McLean's performance was incredible, and I mean GLaDOS, like we've already discussed, is GLaDOS is the driving force of the game, not the puzzles.
Mm.
Yeah,
All right.
incredible.
Companion piece pick. Go for it.
I actually had trouble picking this one, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I was trying to think of like some like weird sci-fi movie. I know there's, without a doubt, there's some good sci-fi movies out there where people are just like random test subjects. I almost went Saw, just because like people unwillingly doing shit. You got something to say, Sam?
No, I think that's great.
Thank you. That's why
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah.
Not Saw though. I ended up going with iRobot.
Okay.
And my notes were robots and AI going sicko mode.
That's your note. That's the one and only note.
You know, it's iRobot. I'm not even gonna pretend I haven't watched that movie in years. I just remember I liked it. Will Smith doing his thing. I think Shia LaBeouf is in there too, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, he is in there.
You know, it's just some robots and AI kind of doing their own thing. I think the ultimate thing is the robots actually are not at fault. I might be wrong on that, but yeah. iRobot has robots and AI. GLaDOS is a computer.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Good companion piece pick.
Thank you. What do you got?
All right. Producer Sam, you're gonna like this one. So science, twisted science. You know, how far is too far?
How far is too far?
All right. So I'm going with that theme for my companion piece pick. I'm picking the 2014 horror comedy by Kevin Smith, Tusk.
I have
You ever seen?
Never heard of this,
Dude,
What's it called? Tusk.
Tusk. It's wild.
It's
wild.
it's like a horror movie. It's like a dark comedy horror movie.
I'm gonna watch. I love comedy horror.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really do.
It's really well written,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's Kevin Smith.
The tone is so weird. Like it's so in that line where it's like totally horror, totally comedy, like 100% at the same time. Like it's pretty crazy. The basic story is that Justin Long plays. He's like a reporter, I believe. And
Oh no, they're podcasters.
oh yeah, he is a
Yeah.
podcaster.
Yo,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Their
meta
pod-
pick.
yeah.
Their
You're right.
podcast is called it's like the Nazi Army, but it's like Nazi.
Nazi army.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like,
So-
yeah, it's so ridiculous. It's kind of making fun of like the podcasting realm a little bit, but basically, Justin Long goes to this guy's house in the Canadian wilderness, and the guy is a scientist who's trying to answer the question: can man really become a walrus? And so he experiments on Justin Long. It's like making fun of
Is he like
human
trying to?
It's like making fun of Human
I
Centipede.
was
a
gonna
little
say
bit.
it sounds
Yeah.
like some Human Centipede
Yeah,
shit.
it's like some Human Centipede shit, but it's like funny and it's like it's so weird.
and dark, and you feel it's dark too.
It's really
like-
disturbing
yeah,
too.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
Dang, I'm excited to check that out now. I have such a long movie list.
yeah, dude.
I have
mean,
a list I keep on my notepad on my phone of just movies, TV shows, books, and anime to watch, and it just gets
Keeps
bigger
getting- gets
every
bigger.
week, and it doesn't. Rarely does it get smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I s-
I'm doing so much work with the podcast for the
I s-
people.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say I actually saw Justin Long one time
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Really?
back when I was working at the good old Din Tai Fung. He was there, yeah,
What?
and he was just wearing his, you know how celebrities,
Where the
Wear their
hat? He did the
hat.
hat
Yeah, he was
like
doing the
Captain
hat.
America in disguise.
yeah, he was doing that thing, and that was like right. I mean, I was still pretty fresh off of seeing Tusk, so I wanted to be like, "Yo, dude, I like that movie. It's sick." But I didn't end up saying anything. But Yeah.
Dude, that's cool. That's a good
Yeah.
celebrity sighting, actually.
Yeah.
Justin Long.
He was starred in Accepted, one of my all-time favorite films.
Oh yeah.
Fucking love it. I don't know if I'd like it by today's standards, but God, 12-year-old me ate
Classic.
that shit up. Yeah.
And Justin Long has a podcast too with his brother. Life is Short, I think.
Oh, I
is
thought
the
you were
name.
talking about the one in the movie.
Yeah, right. Is that
He
the name?
does. Yeah, he does. I'm not sure what the name of it is.
I
I can
think-
look it up.
Well, yeah, we can look it up. That's the great part about being live in studio. Yeah, I think it's called Life is Short with his brother. It's kind of one of these like talk to celebrities podcasts. It's like
Yep. Life is short.
yeah,
Justin Long.
yeah, it's kind of like Rogan-esque. I always just jumped straight to that one as the example. But Dak Prescott has one called Armchair Psychiatrist or something.
Everyone,
you know,
has a podcast these days.
It's just like, hey, book Quentin Tarantino and talk to him for 2 hours. Everyone's gonna listen to that. It's
Yeah.
like that kind of podcast. I think Justin Long's even had Tarantino.
So we
on
need to
his.
get Tarantino. I would love Tarantino's opinion on video games. Has he ever like publicly said anything about video games?
I don't know, man. That's an interesting one. I mean, the only filmmaker I know that's super into him is Guillermo del Toro.
Mm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's super into video games.
That's
was-
awesome.
He was working on a Silent Hills game with Kojima,
Uh-huh.
and it ended up falling through. But he did make a demo. He did make a playable teaser, playable trailer.
Oh,
Whatever.
he was
That
in
was
that. PT.
Guillermo,
yeah.
Guillermo. You would actually like really mess with it, Sam. It's like it's a horror. It's like a horror video game demo that Guillermo del Toro helped direct, and it's trippy as hell. Like it's really
I'm pretty
really
sure
scary.
it's well
Sounds
renowned
amazing.
as like it's only like I think maybe a 30-minute experience or hour experience all the way through, but it's pretty much well renowned. I think it's just one of the scariest experiences in gaming.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
wow.
It's demonic. It's
I don't
weird.
know. Is it still available to even?
No, you can't download it either. Like they put it up, everybody got it, and then well, not everybody, but
You
some
either
people
have
got
or
it,
you don't.
and then they took it off the marketplace.
Damn, just like Flappy Bird.
Exactly.
It's the same game.
Yeah, one's just a lot scarier.
Yeah, I remember when I got Flappy Bird on my phone, and then they took it off. They're like, "Oh, if you keep Flappy Bird on your iPhone, it's gonna be worth millions."
One iPhone did sell that had Flappy Bird. I remember.
Like I think it sold for like 60 grand or something stupid
So
like
dumb.
that.
Oh
But
my God.
I remember when I updated it just automatically took it off my phone. But we got pretty sidetracked there. Moving on to favorite moment. I'll just go with mine real quick. Favorite moment in Portal. It's kind of like several moments put together, but I just love all the hidden rooms and the Ratman rooms and
Yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah, totally. I think my favorite moment is the moment where you realize that momentum shifts when you're jumping through a portal and then
Yeah.
launching yourself. Taking that like to the extreme of like carrying your momentum was really cool because like it's a big revelation. I think that mechanic basically is in every other puzzle after that is like carrying your
Yeah.
momentum in some sort of way. So that was a really really awesome moment for me. Just like I wish I had a portal. I wish I had a portal gun.
I would kill myself so quickly on accident. I don't know how I mean, I do know how I would just like try and do what I saw in the game and then I don't have the boots.
Just die
Just die.
instantly.
That's okay though. We don't have to. One day I'll have a portal gun and I guess that's how I'll go.
Yeah.
Nitpicks.
Yeah.
My only nitpick really is that I think the ending drags on a bit.
Yeah,
the final act where
agree.
once you get into the final bit is really fun where in the final test chamber GLaDOS is like, great job, you got through all the tests and you die now,
Yeah,
bye.
you're gonna die.
And then you start to slowly go into the incinerator. And then, you obviously use your portal gun to get out of the situation. But I don't know, like a third or almost, it felt like half the game is just the final act.
Yeah,
Which I didn't really.
it's too long.
If they cut it in half, it would have been way better. But I don't know. That's the only part of the game that dragged on a bit for me. But that part was fun and led to like one of my favorite GLaDOS quotes. This isn't verbatim quote, but it's something along the lines of like, "Ha, remember when I tried to incinerate you? Yeah, wow, what a good time, huh?"
Yeah,
Like,
that was a funny one.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I have the same nitpick. It's just that final like third of the game. It almost feels like it's a whole third of the game. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. It just drags on. And it's fun because you're kind of going through like a little bit of a different style.
Yeah, it
Not-
has some cool sequences too, like the room with all the turrets up on the walls and everything.
Yeah, that was cool. There was also a cool sequence where there was like these things that were like hydraulic presses basically that were
Mhm.
like gonna crush you and you
Yeah,
had to like
yeah.
climb up them. That was really cool. Basically they were all test chambers just remasked as like the bowels of the facility and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool. Just took a little bit longer than I think it could have, but yeah, that's the only nitpick.
All right. Would we play other games from this developer? Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, we've both played Portal 2, right?
I haven't.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
No.
Portal 2 is amazing.
Yeah.
Portal 2 is amazing. It basically takes everything that Portal did right and just makes it better. The flavor of Portal 2 is like GLaDOS is still alive and like partially rebuilds the facility, and then you're trapped in there again, but it's been overgrown by like trees and nature has like taken over.
Yeah,
so
I've seen a little bit of stuff from it. Yeah.
So like you're in like a destroyed version of the lab, and you're using the portal gun on like, you know, partially destroyed versions of the lab and stuff. It's really good. It's really, really good actually. Has more of a story. You know, the voice acting kind of takes to the next level. That whole thing.
I know they do introduce. I don't know the voice actor, but the character's name is Wheatley.
Dude,
I know he gets introduced.
that guy's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy's great.
Is Defoe in it?
Thank God he's not actually.
You know, I'm gonna. Yeah,
And I love Willem Dafoe. I do.
everyone.
We all do.
This is a.
He just doesn't need to be in a video game necessarily.
Pro Willem Dafoe podcast.
Right. Okay. Other games from the developer: CS:GO, Half-Life, all those other ones. I mean, I've played a lot of CS:GO. Half-Life. I know
Played a lot
producers.
of Team Fortress 2. Really.
Oh yeah, Team Fortress 2 is really good. I know P Sam's on the Half-Life grind. A million years ago.
I definitely played Half-Life and Team Fortress.
Oh yeah.
Which was really cool. Like Team Fortress was kind of like the first Overwatch.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, obviously big inspiration, but Half-Life, the single player game playthrough was actually really sick.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, definitely playing that on like Windows 2000 or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it was. But yeah,
Yeah.
Counter-Strike for sure. Counter-Strike was definitely on my radar.
Goated.
Goated in the 7th and 8th grade. So.
That's right.
Classic mode.
All right. Final conclusive thoughts, Matt.
Yeah, I'm giving it the Segoy of approval.
Yep.
Has an official from me. Portal's sick, and you know, whether you're looking for a game with a little fun narrative in it, you have it. Whether you're looking for a game with fun puzzles to run through, you have that too if that's your thing. And it's all packaged in a really neat little experience of like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So recommend it.
Totally. Yeah, same here. This game earns my seal of approval. It's a short bite, or it's a small bite. It chews it very well. It's just short. It's good. You know, it's not. I don't think it's hard to pick up. I think the only reason it would ever be hard is if you have trouble with first-person shooters at all. But other than that, it's not a complicated game at all. Actually, it's you know, deceptively simple, really fun, snappy, and really funny.
Yeah.
So
Very funny.
big Portal fan here.
All right. You want to lead us into our ratings?
Yes. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, we are going to be doing our rating. Me and Matt are both going to give this game a score out of 10. We're going to combine those numbers and give it a score out of 20. That is the final rating score. It's going to actually overtake anything on IGN, Metacritic, 1UP, GameSpot, anything. So
Rotten Tomatoes.
it's going to it's going to overtake the Rotten Tomatoes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, 3, 2, 1. 8.
9.
Okay.
Really? I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. It's 8 for me.
Fuck.
It's not bad. It's good. It's good.
I don't know, man. I think it's a 9. What? Why? Do you have any other reason to give it an 8 besides it dragging on?
I mean, 1/3 of the game drags.
Sheesh.
I mean, 1/3 of the game is just like a little like
Yeah.
a little
that's palpable.
you know. That's my only thing. I mean, I don't want to.
The only thing that
anybody.
carries the player through that game is, well, no, I don't know. Maybe it's just our experience because we played it before too. But I think I know like what carries me through that part is just what's GLaDOS gonna say next.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think I've played the game before, so I didn't find a lot of like aha moments when figuring out the puzzles. So I guess the first time I played it, I think I might have had a little bit of a higher rating, but knowing like what the solution is pretty much the whole time, even though I did play the game like 12 years ago or something. Yeah, it comes back. The solutions come back to you pretty quickly. I think because they're rooted in like a real physical like.
Well, not even like not even like the straight up. Oh, I need to shoot exactly here. It's just it just feels so intuitive. Like it just, you know, you can, it's much easier to figure out this time. Basically,
Yeah,
is the point.
totally. And I definitely feel like I didn't have any aha moments on this playthrough. So a little bit of a ding score there, but that's on me.
That said, though, too, that's kind of just a problem of the genre. I'd say as puzzle platformer or puzzles games in general, barring like Tetris, maybe.
Yeah,
which is like a puzzle rush game. I don't know what you call that, but I think that's just a replayability thing in general with puzzles. So it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, puzzle games are hard to replay for sure. Yeah, except for The Witness.
But yeah, all right. So that gives us a 17 out of 20.
A 17 out of 20. That's pretty good. That's the Kakashi Guy zone tier.
Place to be.
Yeah, so not bad as far as the power levels go.
Love it. All right, everyone. I think that's all we got today. Everyone, I think most of our listeners are on Spotify and or whatever podcast platform, which is great. But feel free to come check out our YouTube now. We have a nice little studio set up. We'd love to have you subscribe. We're gonna be posting more clips. I think hopefully little snippets. Come hang out. It's a good time. And as well, for one, you can find our YouTube and our link tree, and as well in our link tree, you can also find our Discord. Discord has been popping off lately. We're basically a Wordle Discord now.
That's all we do.
A lot of Wordle stuff going on there. It's a good time. We talk about any news coming out. Activision was a big discussion point. Pokemon Arceus just dropped today. We didn't talk about that, but that's huge. Talking about that with a lot of people, and yeah, it's just a good time. Come hang out. And again, you can find that either on our website at thanksforplaying.live, or you can find it in either our bios on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. In the link tree there, and all of the handles for those socials is at TFP Podcasts with an S at the end. Again, that is at TFP Podcasts with an S at the end. Come hang out. It's a good time. If you want to hang out with your good buddy Matt, you can find me on Twitter at GoodIdeaMatthew. And if you want to shoot us an email, you can shoot us an email at thanksforplayingpod@gmail.com. Lucas, where can we find you?
Perfect. Yeah, the best place to find me is probably through the Discord. Have actually had some listeners reach out through the Discord and say what's up. Feel free to shoot me your hot takes, debate me on games. Love it, love it, love it. We could talk about Magic the Gathering, getting real into that again. We could talk about any sort of video games, movies, whatever. Keep the conversation going. So on Discord, again, our Discord can be found probably most easily through our social media channels or our website.
Yes.
Cool.
Definitely.
And probably give P. Sam.
Yeah,
Let's
if
hear
you guys want to reach out to me, just hit me on my cell phone. It's 541. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, if you guys want to find me, I am on the good old Instagram. You can reach me at Freddie Sluger. That's my personal page, or something that might be easier would be at Vincent Moon Music, which is my lo-fi side project, and you can DM me on there, and we can chat about movies, music, video games. If it's before 2005, and I'm ready to go. So, yeah.
You know what's crazy? Producer Sam hasn't followed me back on Instagram. We've DM'd each other too.
Dude,
that's pretty dark.
And every time,
so sorry.
He's not gonna. I don't think he's ever. Gonna
I don't think you should do it at this point.
Yeah.
You should hold out.
I can't, man.
That's cool. I'll go out of my way to whenever I post something new to send it to you.
Thank you.
Like, hey, just keeping you updated.
I'm just keeping you at bay. It's like I don't want you too close.
That's cool.
I don't want you in my followers.
It's cool. I get it.
He's got to keep that ratio following.
It's important, man. It's 2022, man. If we don't have our ratio on Instagram, what do we have? But
True.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Thanks for Playing. Catch you next time. Skip it up. We're still live, Sam. I don't know how to work this.
Am I still on camera? All right, cool.